Hey guys, Mr. Bowman again. I've moved to the living room of my house. Hopefully the window provides better lighting for the webcam. Today's learning objective is in white, and we are learning to define and identify lowest common multiples. So this is very similar to the work that we did with highest common factors. So that word there, common, kind of gives that away. Let's run through what our definition is, and then let's run through some examples to help us identify the lowest common multiples of some numbers that were given. So lowest common multiples. And you may also see that abbreviated to LCM. So LCM also means lowest common multiples as well. And this one doesn't have a nice definition like highest common factors did, but it is common multiples. So think of numbers like 2 times 3, 4 times 8, 6 times 3, and it'll be the lowest of those. So you'll have a pair of numbers, and your job will be to find the lowest common multiple of those. So not a great definition. The ones I found on the internet and in our textbook wasn't good, but let's get into some examples and hopefully we can highlight what that definition actually means. So the first one we're going to look at is 6 and 8. And highest common multiple or lowest common multiple, what we're going to do is we're going to times all of them by their numbers. So 6 times 1, well, that's going to get us to 6. And then 8 times 1, that's going to get us to 8. And we can see here, these are both multiples. And the issue is they are not in common. They don't have anything in common yet. But let's keep going down our list. So let's times that by 2, or that's going to get us to 12. Let's go times 3, that's going to get us to 18. Let's stop there. Let's see if we can get anything to do with that. So 8 times 2 is 16. Okay, so still not in common. Let's do another 8. Let's go to 3. 24. So if we have a look here, 6, 12, 18, 18, 6, 24, we still don't have anything in common. So let's try another 4. So 24. And there we go. That's exactly what we're looking for. Let's circle both of them, 24 and 24. So we've gone through multiples of 8 and 6, and we've identified they have 24 in common, and we've also figured out that there's no other multiples before 24, which is lower than those ones. And what that means is we can say the lowest common multiple of 6 and 8, that comes to 24. So hopefully that makes sense. Let's go through another example. Let's go through, what about 6 and 12? So let's run through our list. 6 times 1, okay, well that comes to 6, times 2, that comes to 12. Let's do up to 4. Oh, I've written 18, but that should be 12. And then we've got times 3, that came to 18, times 4, that came to 24. So we've got our list of multiples of 6. Let's do the same for 12. Let's do a couple for 12, see if we can identify one that will be in common. So 12 times 1 is 12. Let's do times 2, 24, and times 3, 36. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to keep going on the 6th column just to demonstrate something. So if we did that by times 5, that would have been 30, and times 6, that would have been 36. So we've got our list. These are our lists of multiples. We now need to think, what numbers do they have in common? Well, we can actually see they both got a 36, and this time around they both got a 12. So there are multiple numbers that they have in common based on our list, but if we stopped a bit earlier, for example, maybe we stopped above the line, we wouldn't have seen the 36, but our answer would still be correct. Okay, and of these common ones, which is the lowest? Well, it'll be those 12s. So our lowest common multiple, in that case, is 12. And let's go through our final one. Let's go through a hard scenario. We'll even change pen color for it, or really ramp up for it. We'll go for blue. Let's try 8 and 10. what multiples do they have in common? So typically, as the numbers get bigger, the higher or the harder it is to identify the factors. So let's go all the way to times 10 for both of them to see if we can find anything in common. So for 8, we're going to go times 1, well, that would be 8, times 2, that would be 16, times 3, that's 24, times 4, 32, times 5 is 40, times 6 is 50, times 7, oh no, times 6 is 48, isn't it? Not 50, doing my teens there. Times 7 is 56, times 8, 64, times 9 is 72, and times 10 is 80. So I went all the way up to my 10 times tables. And for the tens, it's a bit easier. It just goes 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. So what we've done there, those lists, they are, I'm underlining in blue, they are the multiples of 8 and 10. We now need to figure out which ones do they have in common. So I can see 80 in both lists. Hopefully you can as well. And are there any, can you see any others in both of those lists? Oh, yep, there is another one actually. Yeah, okay. So we got 40 in both of those lists as well. Can we see any others? No. So there's only 2. So there might be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 common multiples sometimes. And then of these, which are the lowest? Well, it's going to be those 40s. So that means the lowest common multiple for those two would be 40. So we did 3 relatively straightforward examples. There may be some numbers where you have to write really big lists to help you identify those factors. And if that comes up, please be patient, please be resilient. Make sure you do this thoroughly. Any short skip steps may result in missing that common multiple. It just takes to miss one number to miss the common multiple as well. So hopefully you found this video on lowest common multiples useful. Just to recap, create some lists of your multiples, find out which they have in common, and of the common ones, which one is the lowest as well. Thanks for listening to the video, guys. Now let's get into some questions.